Very good evening to you and welcome back to West Ham Official. Hope you are all well. Premier League Roundup show for another week where we have seen Arsenal slip up on Weir side and Manchester City push on against a pretty limp Liverpool. Those are the highlights as we discuss all of the very best of the Premier League action for this week. Josh is with me. How are you, mate?
Well, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine, not too bad. Sean is unable to be with us this week, so we're back to the olden days of Jake and Josh getting you through the Premier League action. We're going to start with another West Ham win, two home wins in the space of 6 days. Before then, we hadn't won at home for 248 days, like London buses, as West Ham get over the line against Burnley. By all accounts, seems like a bit of a better, decent performance from West Ham against a pretty poor Burnley side. Went behind again as we did against Newcastle last week, and we managed to get back on level terms and establish a lead. Things were taken out of it. Potts got injured, so let's hope that's not too severe. Obviously, now we have an international break, so hopefully he can recover in time for Bournemouth in a couple of weekends' time. And then seems like Fernandez had a really good game by all accounts. He played that brilliant ball through to Somerville, who couldn't quite get on the end of it. But it just seemed a little bit like right place, right time with the Wilson goal and the Souček goal. Both popped up. Bit of luck along the way into the back of the net, and that's how we established a lead against Burnley. It was really key. We won this game, to win 2 games in the week, to beat Newcastle, to beat Burnley, 6 points, and to put us level with Burnley and very close to escaping the relegation zone. A very good week for West Ham. Josh, Burnley, a funny side, started off okay, tailing off slightly under Scott Parker. They weren't given much chance of staying up. They weren't great, admittedly, but they've started better than most would think.
Yeah, they're outside the bottom three at the moment still, I think. So they've done better than most people expected. They didn't really get too much investment in the summer, didn't bring too many in. I think last season, the Championship, they had the best defensive record. I think they broke all sorts of records, letting, was it less than 15 goals, something stupid like that last season. Had a really good defence, but then they lost the keeper, Trafford. They also lost the best centre half. So I wouldn't have given an open L's chance, but they're doing okay, to be fair. They had a good result to get the Wolves away the other week. I think they've lost a couple since. But yeah, I think for them to be outside the bottom three after 10 games, they've definitely taken that. I still think they'll go. I don't think they've had enough. Forest picking up, so are you now as well. So I think they probably will go still. But in general, the three who've come up look much more competitive this season, which is good to see, because the previous 2 seasons, I don't think any of them have got more than 25 points, which is shocking, really. So I'm just glad they seem more competitive, and I hope they all stay up, to be fair. But I think Burnley probably will just fall short, but they've started better than I thought.
Yeah, I echo your thoughts in terms of all 3 teams. And I mean, if you're not part of the relegation battle, it's very, very good to see a little bit of competition in there, because as Josh said, we've had a couple of years of pretty bleak competitors coming up in from the Championship, and I mean Wolves look condemned to relegation currently, but with a new manager imminent in Rob Edwards, who knows whether that will turn around. But expect Burnley still at this stage for me to be a team that drops. Let's take some comments. Terry, I hope you are well. Thanks for joining us. Oi, the march was like a blast from the past, reminded me of the days walking to Upton Park, and there was the protest before the game, and then there was, positivity as everyone entered the ground. It was a really productive day on and off the pitch for West Ham, so well done to all involved there. Grandad is here. Did Everton win this weekend? I've completely missed that.
Beat Fulham 2-0.
Beat Fulham 2-0. Yeah, that's why I missed it. One of the more forgettable games, but a good win for. Oh yeah, because Fulham are struggling. We can talk about Fulham in the next couple of weeks. They're a side struggling. I'm now Jack. That's okay, Michael. That's all right. I've been called a lot worse. Good evening to you, mate. Happy this week. We are. we are all happy. If I click on it, we are all happy this week. My three to go down: Wolves, Burnley, and Leeds. I don't think you'll be far wrong. We've won another game. I know, absolutely brilliant. What is going on? I mean, it's getting boring winning every week. I mean, who on earth would want to do that? Let's go to another team actually that came up from the Championship last season, who are doing remarkably well. They're currently sat in the top four. This game was looked at as a big and one of the probably the biggest tests that Sunderland have had so far as Arsenal came to the Stadium of Light. And I watched this, Josh, and do you know what? Was very impressed again, very impressed. They're making that place a fortress, and Arsenal were rattled undoubtedly. Yeah, they scored a last-minute equaliser to get a point, but Dan Ballard getting the first goal and then them getting back on level terms. They had Arsenal looking like the Arsenal 2 or 3 years ago, rattled.
They did. I think Arsenal before that they hadn't conceded a goal in something like 5 or 6 games. I think they'd let in something like 3 all season. I think they were on course of Chelsea's record under Mourinho before that. And they put 2 past them. I also watched it, and yeah, it's been a long time since they've been that rattled. The first goal from a set piece, a great finish from Ballard, the centre half. I think he was released from them as an academy player, didn't make an appearance for them. So that was good to see. In the second half, Arsenal probably did dominate, could have been 3 or 4 up in the end, but Sunderland, they kept themselves in the game. And last 10 minutes, you felt like the goal was coming. They were playing to the strengths, they were getting balls in the box, going direct. Robbie, the striker he signed from Ajax, looks a real handful. He was the one who held the ball up for the goal against Chelsea when they won it late the other week as well. He looked a handful. Xhaka in the midfield, I think Carragher said it, probably signing of the season so far. He's made a real difference, just keeps him ticking over, likes to tackle. Great signing for them. And yeah, they give it a right good go in the market. I think they spent over 100 million. I think something like 8 of the 11 who played against Arsenal, new signings, or players they brought in the summer. So they give it a right go. But I don't think
And they
anyone
spent the
thought,
money constructively, Josh. That's one thing I
yeah,
will say, because teams have come up before and they've just chucked it down the drain. But I mean, Xhaka, I said from day dot, was a very good signing, and they've made some very good signings. They spent their money wisely, and the
yeah,
proof is in the pudding. Because I mean, there's been a whole this season. It feels like we've gone back in time, long throws, corners, and all the rest
yeah,
of it. But Sunderland epitomise how simple football can be in the sense
yeah.
that they're doing the simple things right, and look where they are in the league.
Yeah, and they spent 100 million, but I think Ipswich actually spent more last season when they come up, and look how
Mm.
far that got them. So it's not, yes, they've spent money, but I think, you have to look at how well they've recruited as well. As say Ipswich last season, they basically just signed the Championship Team of the Year, just got all the best players from the Championship, like a young team, and it wasn't enough. But they've added like a mixture of sort of experience and youth, people like Xhaka, and then also a few young ones like Talby, Adingra out wide, and then Brian Brobby as well, the young striker, and then experience like Bertrand Traore, who's done it in the Premier League before as a winger too. So they with the recruitment, they've gone for a real mixture of like young and old, and they've recruited so well. But even so, I thought they'd probably have enough to stay up, but I didn't think they'd be doing this well. I think they're unbeaten at home, and yeah, they really did have them rattled them last 10 minutes, and probably deserved the point in the end. So it's great to see, I'd say, with how bad the newly promoted teams have been last few seasons. It really is good to see. Big club as well, probably deserve to be in the Premier League. So it's good to see.
And it's great to see Arsenal dropping points in Operation Anyone but Arsenal to win the Premier League this season. So that is a good step in the right direction there. And we have Bournemouth away next. That is absolutely right. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Bournemouth in just a second. Mugs as well. Who would have thought no stress for 4 weeks being a hammer? I mean, chuck the international break in. We haven't lost. I mean, come the end of the international break, we hadn't lost for a month. I mean, that's remarkable. Bournemouth seem to have fallen off the cliff. We'll get to that in a second. Xhaka going to be the best signing of the season. I mean, it raised my eyebrow when they got it. I thought, that's really good. And I was like, if he's still got the pace of the Premier League, he will be the leader, and he has been. He's been a heartbeat of them. Now, I've heard, Terry, that we're all living it up in executive boxes at Bournemouth in a couple of weeks. I mean, how we've changed, hey? We're all in. We are all in the posh seats at the seaside. There we are. There we are. Well, a good afternoon we'll have, and if there's anything to go by what we're about to discuss, it might be a very good afternoon with a three-course meal down at the Vitality in a couple of weeks' time. Josh, Aston Villa 4, Bournemouth 0. Now, I predicted you to win, but not quite by that margin. What happened?
No, I'd say I also thought we'd, as you said, sorry, I thought we'd win, but I did not think we'd blown away like that. And 3 of the 4 goals were from set pieces. It probably wasn't a 4-0 game, but that's not to say we didn't deserve to win. I thought first half probably as good as we played all season. We played for their press very well. They are a good side, but they're also quite open. They're a bit 100 mile an hour. They press very high. They do usually leave space in behind, and I think we managed to exploit that very well first half. And could have unlucky to go in more than soon enough, I thought. Second half, we didn't start too great. Semenyo missed a pen, Martinez saved it. First 15, 20 minutes of the second half, we weren't great at letting them back into it. But as soon as we got the third goal, we controlled it again, and once again could have had a few more. Probably as best as we played all season. Maybe Man City game can compete with it. But yeah, I think they've lost 2 in a spin now. Bournemouth slowly falling off, but either way, this season they're still massively overachieving. Considering lost their entire back four and the goalkeeper, no one thought they'd be doing as well as they were, and I still think that they're only a point off second or something. It's so tight, so they've still had a great start. As for Villa, since the international break, 9 points from 12 when we played Spurs, Liverpool, Man City, and Bournemouth. So I'd have definitely taken that. Never thought we'd got 9 from them 4 games, Spurs and Liverpool being away as well. So very happy with that return. Into the top 6 now. It's just a shame we had such a poor start. We didn't win in first 5, didn't score a goal. I mean, we had one of the easiest runs of fixtures as well. In them 5, we played Palace, Sunderland, Everton, and Brentford, and we couldn't beat any of them. Newcastle at home we drew to as well. So it's just a shame that if we would have had a good start, I think we'd have definitely been up there with Arsenal, to be honest, because we literally had one of the easiest starts. We just were having an absolute nightmare at the start of the season. But 6 weeks on, I think we've won something like 7 out of 8 or 8 out of 9. There was the slip up against Go Ahead Eagles in the Europa League, which was quite comical. And then there was Liverpool away, the only 2 games we've lost since that Sunderland game, where we that was just the last game of that awful start of the season we had. So yeah, Emery's definitely turned it around. I was sort of doubting him at the start after that run, thinking is it the beginning of the end? We had a tough summer, couldn't really spend as he took us as far as he can. But I think this season, I think the top 4 is probably nailed on for Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. But I think that 5th spot, which does get you Champions League now, is wide open. Spurs haven't convinced me at all. Man United, I'm still not even sure they'll be top 8. So I'm hoping that 5th spot is still more than gettable, as well as the Europa League as well, which we should have a good chance of winning. So yeah, I'm happy with where we are at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, some of the more eagle-eyed or eagle-eared of you would have listened there that Josh had a task this week that he may have forgotten about, not to mention FFP, but he worked his way around it by saying we didn't have much money to spend. Josh, very good. You've done it completely unintentionally because I know you've forgotten. Josh has still mentioned, I'm sorry, Sean has still mentioned injuries, even though he's not here. He was that. There we go. But Josh, you managed to get through your segment without mentioning FFP. I'm very proud of you.
I've done
Very
well.
proud. Very good. Usual suspect, thanks for joining us. I hope you are well. Jake only goes to sports events if it's VIP, free and VIP. Let's just emphasise that now as well. He'll be studying it in the back of the VW for Wolves in January, and I'll put the emphasis back on the free, Terry. Yes, bring on Wolves. To be fair, I mean, when you came on, Josh, I thought you had a Wolves scarf next to you there. What is
This is
that?
Bodo Glimt. So
Bodo
my
Glimt,
mum the
okay.
other week went to Oslo for a weekend away for a birthday for a few of her mates, and she brought me back a Bodo Glimt scarf because they're Norwegian team. So yeah,
Yeah.
Europa League semi-finals last season. So very happy with that.
There we go. There we go. Very good. All round. Let's go to the G-Tech next. From Bodo Glimt to Brentford 3, Newcastle 1. Spoke about Newcastle last week. They've slipped off, and there was a few murmurings then of what's going to happen with Eddie Howe, and it seems like it's getting louder and louder. They haven't won away from home since April They've not picked up a win away from home all season and since April. And they, apart from in the Champions League, they are slipping. They're down just a couple of points off of the relegation zone. And crucially, Josh, they're about 7 points behind Sunderland at this stage, which will really sting.
Yeah. Obviously, again, I don't want to keep mentioning the P word or the F word, but it's I think they're really feeling it. But even so, I didn't think they'd struggle this much. But I just think they've had to massively change the system. Since Isaacs went and now they've got Voltamada, I don't think they can be sort of as intense or as high pressing as they were. I don't think he's as mobile as Isaac. I don't think he's as quick. They've sort of had to adapt a little bit in that sense, and playing a completely different type of number 9 from Isaac to Voltamada. I think the systems that they're having to adapt the system a bit, which probably hasn't helped them. But that said, they're still doing well in Europe in the Champions League, from the top 8 in that, and they won 3 out of 4 games, beat Atletico in the week. So I'm really not too sure what it is, because as I say, they're doing well there. So I'm honestly not too sure what's going on. As I say, I can think of that, why they're having to change the system a little bit to suit Voltamada. But as I say, it's not really affecting them in Europe. So I'm I'm not too sure what it is, but they've had a horrendous start. But Brentford, on the other hand, they're the complete opposite, massively overachieving. I watched them against Villa on their first home game of the season, and I thought these are going to be definitely bottom four. They might just stay up, but they're not going to do anything this season. They must have had 70% of the ball, and they sat back and got a goal from a set piece. I wasn't at all impressed. But last few weeks, they've been really good against West Ham. They could have had much more than 2 in that game. Beat Liverpool, and the absolute masses of the long throws as well. So yeah, considering the players they lost, like Bournemouth, I think the top half, it's just really impressive. They lost the manager, they lost the keeper, they lost Mbemo, they lost Vizza, and they lost Norgard as well, who I think was the captain. So that's 4 players and the manager that they've lost, and they're still just doing so well. It's quite impressive, really. It's been a great start for them. But as for Newcastle, I'd say 7 points behind Sunderland. That no one would have thought that is a bad one for them. I think they're on something like 4 or 5 points clear of the bottom 3 as well. Obviously, they're not going to go down, but it's really not the start that they wanted.
No, I think people grossly underestimated Brentford, and people thought that the sort of Brentford like magical run is going to be coming to its end. They lost Frank, they lost lots of key players, and they seem to be defying odds and cracking on and doing really well. They're sat 12th, which a month ago would have been, they've snapped your hand off of that. As for Newcastle, they're a team that just looks like they're on a slow decline, and I don't know how that decline gets halted. I mean, I was at the London Stadium last week, and I haven't watched them too much this season, but I was staggered at how bad they were. They made us look good, and we played well, but we are nothing special at the moment. And I was really, really shocked at how poor they were. So I don't know how that changes at Newcastle, but something is definitely not right at St James's Park. Isak is their fulcrum in terms of Liverpool. Wow, that is one comparison for a Monday evening. But I see where you're coming from, and we're going to come on to Liverpool and all their woes next. Does anyone know anything about the Ballers League? I'm curious because young people keep talking about it and I don't understand it. I don't, to be honest.
No.
Josh isn't even properly suited to tell us because I haven't got a clue. I think it's a bunch of YouTubers that want to make themselves famous who just
Yeah, it's
are
it's
playing
a load of
five-a-side
nonsense.
football.
Not for me at all. Yeah,
No,
it's a
it's not for
shame to
me either.
see kids growing up with all this crap these days. But yeah, I don't know too much about it, to be fair.
Oh, there's Josh, a 16, 17-year-old trapped inside a 45-year-old's body. I don't want the kids growing up seeing this crap. I agree. I agree. Let's go to Super Sunday, shall we? Up to the Etihad, Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. And I think this game probably encapsulates the Premier League season so far, because a game that is normally so hotly anticipated and closely fought flew open by, I mean, you can't sugarcoat it, a disastrous performance from Liverpool, and Manchester City looking somewhat flowing, I think it's fair to say, and closed the gap to just 4 points from the league leaders Arsenal, Josh.
Yeah, it's a weird one with Liverpool. Looked like they turned it around, played Real Madrid off the park, done well against Villa. Looked like they tightened up. The fullback could stop bombing on. Bradley was playing a bit more like a centre half in possession, and then they just got absolutely battered yesterday. Um, the pen miss as well could have been much more than four. However, the disallowed goal probably could have changed the game. I still don't really know how that was disallowed. I think, or even if the keeper's view is blocked, he was never getting there anyway. It was great header, far corner. I don't think he'd have had a chance of saving it, whether his view was blocked or not. So don't really understand that one. However, you can't really use that as too much of an excuse for Liverpool because they were absolutely battered. They created very little. Second half, City they sort of sat in a bit more. Pep been doing that a bit more this season. They're not what they used to, where they just control the game. He's a bit more, go a bit more direct sometimes. Now they've got Haaland, they sit in a bit more. But Liverpool still didn't create too much second half. I think Vert is a big problem. I think Gary Neville said it. He looks like a little boy. I just think the pace of the league is too quick for him. He's getting bullied off the ball. I don't doubt that he maybe after 6 months, 12 months, he can adapt to the pace of the league and be a good player. But right now, I think he just can't get up to speed with it. He looks weak, and it's too quick for him. I think he needs taking out the team for the probably best with Gakpo on the left and that same midfield three that won the title of Gravenberg, McAllister and Szoboszlai. Canate this season, I'm not too sure what's happened to him. He's
Looks
just making
awful. Looks really
yeah,
bad.
he looks really poor. He's making mistake after mistake. And yesterday, City just let him off the ball, didn't press him, and he just kept giving it away. Then their only backup is Joe Gomez, so I get why he keeps playing. And I think they wanted Gay, didn't they, in the summer, and they just couldn't get over the line on deadline day. I think that could be the difference between them. That could have got them the title because now they've got three centre halves. Two of them are Canate and Gomez, and one of them is Van Dijk, who's aging and probably also isn't the same player this season. So I think they've got a problem there. I think none of the new signings apart from Ekatike have bedded in yet at all. Kerkez and Frimpong have been dropped. Isak can't get fit. He weren't really training the whole summer apparently, so he's just not at all fit. He keeps getting injured. Even when he wasn't injured, he looked a good yard off it. He wasn't at all fit. So yeah, I'll be honest with the players they signed. I thought they were going to absolutely walk it, but they haven't at all. And City now, I think they should have a good chance again. Arsenal got the best squad in the league by far, but I think with Arteta, you never know. They are a bit better this season. Like they turned it around against Sunderland, which they used to only draw away from home, or if they would win, they'd rely on a 1-0 from a set piece. They are turning games around this season. They've done it against Newcastle as well. But I still think under him, there's always a chance that they could bottle it. So yeah, Man City, you can't write them off. They could also go on a big run after Christmas as well, 14, 15 unbeaten, as we've seen them do in the past. So you definitely can't write them off. And at the minute, you'd have to give them more chance than Liverpool, with the way Liverpool look at the minute. But yeah, City, they absolutely played him off the park. Doku as well, what a performance from him. Completely ripped Conor Bradley to shreds, who pocketed Vinicius Junior in the week as well. So
Mm.
just shows how good Doku was. But yeah, I think City, they definitely got a chance of winning it now.
Absolutely. You can never write Man City off. Pep Guardiola's 1,000th managerial game in charge, and what a way to mark it. Right, let's take some comments. YouTubers who want to be famous, you say, yes, but want to become famous on merit, not by playing in a YouTubers five-a-side league that Sky is somehow putting on the telly and covering, but there we are. There we are. Liverpool themselves look almost clueless. And we're going to spend the last couple of minutes talking about the state of the Premier League, because I think this is the time where people actually start to look at the Premier League table. We played 11 games. The unwritten rule is don't look at the league before the 10-game mark. We're now entering an international break. And it's, Josh, we're in a state of real just bizarreness. Like nobody really knows what's going on. Like I'm looking at the Premier League table, and I'll put it up on the screen in a second, but it hasn't settled down yet by no means. I mean, Sunderland might be the Forest of last season, and they might just stay there. Everyone's saying, it's going to settle down at some point, but it doesn't seem that way, because you look at the bottom seven there. Wolves expected. Forest, I mean, I expected it. I thought they'd be down, but that gap, I mean, there's 7 points. They are 8 points adrift with 11 played, Josh. I mean, it's monumental, isn't it?
Yeah, the Wolves, I think, are doomed, I'll be honest. Looks like they're getting that Rob Edwards in from Middlesbrough, which is
Yeah.
a bit of a ratty move considering he's only been there, what, 3 or 4 months from doing the top two in the Championship. They're not happy, and I don't blame them because I don't see him turning that round at Wolves. Forest should have more than enough to get out of it. I didn't think they'd do as well as last season, but if you look at their squad, they did enough spending the summer. They got Edu in as a sporting director, and they went for it a bit. And they've got quite a decent squad. I thought they'd be around top half. I think they should have more than enough to get out of it. I still think Burnley and Leeds will go. I know there's been questions of Farker the last few weeks saying is he up to it in the Premier League? Probably
But the
isn't, to be
interesting
fair. But
part of it, Josh, the interesting part of the sort of relegation battle that we've got going on here is that everyone expected Wolves, Forest, probably us, Burnley, Leeds to be down, but all of a sudden you've got Newcastle and Fulham that are dripping down. I mean, Fulham look pretty
Fulham could
average.
be in trouble. I don't think they'll go down, but they'll definitely be bottom six, and they could have a chance of being in a relegation battle without their playing. They're falling like a stone at the moment against
Yeah,
Everton. They were really poor. Everton completely dominated. I couldn't believe how poor they were. To be honest, they were really bad, created very little. Even looked open, which is unusual for a Silver team. Usually quite good defensively, defensively organised, good on the break. Didn't look like that at all at the weekend. They're falling like a stone. They could easily get dragged into it. Newcastle will be okay. They'll probably end up finishing about 9th or 10th, I think. Everton 13th. It wouldn't surprise me if that's where they end up. And I think
exactly.
that'll
Yeah.
be a solid season for them. I think West Ham, I said the other week you wouldn't be bottom six, but since then you lost to home to Brentford and lost to Leeds away. So I'm not sure. But then last couple of games you have picked up. So I don't think you'll go down, but probably will be bottom six with how competitive the league is this season. I think Burnley and Leeds will be the two to go as well with Wolves.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, you go up and you sort of enter a period where no one, I mean, you've got the likes of Brighton, Brentford, Palace, Bournemouth, teams that you always expect to be in those mid-table areas. Fulham is normally a team that you associate with that area, but not to be. This season, they sort of dropped down into the next bracket. But those sort of 9 to 12, you can sort of sugarcoat over with one brush and say they're going to be there or thereabouts at the end, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, definitely. I think that's where they usually finish every year, them type of teams. It's a shame that they can never sort of break into that top six because every season they all seem to just get the best players nicked. It's just the nature of football, I'm afraid. It always seems to happen. Even Man United come fifth bottom last season, and Brentford come ninth, and then Burma goes to Man United. But it's just the way the game goes. But I think for small clubs like that, I presume that they're still happy where they are just to be in the Premier League, to be fair. And yeah, I think them four, they'll probably all end up there in that order. Wouldn't surprise me if that happens.
And then we sort of cue the madness with Liverpool in eighth, having lost 5 games at the start of this season. I think most of them at home, actually, as well. So that, and then you've got Man United above them. I mean, you'd have had good money on that at the middle of November, wouldn't you? You know, Man United to be above Liverpool in the Premier League, and your boys sixth. So you've got Man United, Villa, Spurs, teams that are going to be in and around there somewhere, but you're not entirely sure where. And it's just the Liverpool in eighth that's sticking out to me at the moment.
Yeah, I still think the top four is nailed on for City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, maybe Spurs, but I don't. Spurs haven't convinced me at all, and I think that fifth spot, which does get a Champions League now, like I said earlier, will be well up for grabs. And Sunderland probably will fall away, um, probably around mid-table sort of thing. I know I said that with Forest this time last year, and they managed to get Europe, but
I'm getting strong deja vu from Forest last season
yeah, I
already.
know. I can see it where it'd be unreal if they could somehow get top eight and get into Europe. That'd be great for them, but I'm not sure. The home form would be massive. I don't think they'll lose many games at home, but away they definitely drop off at some point. Um, but yeah, it's weird with how it's got with how it is at the minute. Um,
It's bizarre. And then, I mean, Arsenal top, it was looking a little bit better for them. There's just 4 points to gap now,
yeah.
which, can come and go quite easily, especially at this stage of the season. As we said, Chelsea are going to be expected to be in and around there. And at the moment, to me, it looks like a two-horse race,
Yeah.
but that could change again if City fall off, or if a team carries on and cracks on. It's just impossible to know where any of those 8 teams are going to finish there come May, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I still think Liverpool will be top four. I mean, with the money they've spent, you'd hope they'd be top four. It'd be quite a travesty if they weren't. Um, yeah, as I say, I think the top four will be Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and then probably Spurs in fifth. But you don't know. I think they've not been playing great. Spurs, they've sort of been grinding out results. Their away form's been good, but at home they've been pretty poor. So I'm just hoping Villa can get into that fifth, which will be Champions League. I think we've got a chance, but I think that'll be wide open this season. There's a few teams: Spurs, Villa, Man U, even Sunderland. Who knows? And maybe even one of them teams that we think of mid-table: Bournemouth, Palace, Brighton. I doubt it, but you just never know. It's been, I think, the last couple of years, it's weird. You get a few teams getting more competitive. So yeah, it's been a strange start to the season. I still think Arsenal win it, but City, you can never write them off.
Indeed. There we go. That is our Premier League roundup show. We have got a week off now for international break, about 50 yards up the road. England take on Serbia on Thursday in a qualifier. But we now have a week off. Villa are off to Leeds after international break. We are off to sunny, hopefully, Bournemouth. So thank you very much indeed, Josh. We have fully rounded up the Premier League there through the table with a little bit of time left at the end. So thank you very much indeed.
No worries.
Thank you very much, everyone, for getting involved in the chat as well. Good conversations heading off in there with a pretty topsy-turvy and unstable Premier League table at the moment. It is very unpredictable, that is for sure. But that's it from us. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.